Tracking strong thunderstorms here across the state, flash flooding and severe wind. What to expect through the rest of tonight.
Plus, as we gear up for back-to-school season and sports in the fall, the heat is sticking around. How schools are keeping your children safe and in the game.
Our firefighters practice every day, and they live just to go up here and protect your homes.
A Salt Lake home is badly damaged in a fire in the sweltering heat. The message firefighters have ahead of the fireworks.
And we'll take you to the annual Intertribal Powwow as the state celebrates Pioneer Day.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
Our top story tonight is the weather. Thunderstorms have picked up throughout the evening along the Wasatch Front. We've seen your videos sent in from North Salt Lake, Harriman, Riverton, West Haven, and all around the Salt Lake Valley. The Utah's Weather Authority team is tracking the storm every step of the way.
We do have team coverage for you tonight with Fox 13 News reporter Emily Tenser live in the elements right now.
But let's start with Utah's Weather Authority, Allison Krogan in the Weather Center. Allison.
Hi, so tracking strong thunderstorms here across northern Utah. We saw some wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour at the Salt Lake City International Airport. We are still seeing a few cells moving up towards the Bear River area, getting into Wyoming. As we look out west right now through Dugway, so through Millard and Tooele counties, we still have quite a bit of lightning developing in western Utah. Those could still make it to the Wasatch Front here in the next couple of hours. We'll get to that in a second. A few areas of rain showers down through Gunnison, Emery, Loa, Capitol Reef, and a flash flood warning down towards Kodachrome Basin State Park. This goes until 11 o'clock tonight. This also includes the Bull Valley Gorge, Herm Pollock, also Round Valley, Draw, and Hackberry Canyon. So between Lake Powell and Kanab. Across northern Utah, though, some strong storms, seeing lots of lightning. We had some delays at the airport earlier. We also had some very damaging winds possible. We saw some limbs that came down in the Sugar House area. Temperatures cooled off quite a bit, so we're about 80 degrees right now, so we're getting ready for bed, but we still have chances for storms through about 2 a.m. for the Wasatch Front. For Salt Lake and Ogden, we could see a peak again about 11 p.m. with those storms that have developed in western Utah. We'll get to that in just a bit.
Allison, thanks so much. As you just mentioned a moment ago, the bad weather also impacting Salt Lake International Airport. Over the past 2 hours, according to officials, because of the lightning storm, also for safety reasons, there was restricted access to the airfield. That, however, was just lifted within the past 10 minutes. Here's a live look at FlightAware's misery map right now. There's at least one canceled flight and 8 flights delayed on the board there. You can see for the Salt Lake City area. Passengers should check with their airline regarding possible delays.
This week's high temperatures will make for a very sweaty start to high school sports, beginning practices tomorrow.
Some teams have been practicing for the past few weeks during all this heat. Fox 13 News reporter Emily Tenser spoke with an athletic trainer about how they protect students who are exercising in this heat. Emily, I know a lot of people are concerned about having their child, their athlete, go out into the elements with this heat wave.
Bob, Kelly, absolutely. But right now it feels like we're getting a little break from the heat, but that's thanks to the spotty rain we've been seeing. But starting tomorrow, every day, school districts will be monitoring inside and outside weather conditions to make sure students are safe getting ready for fall sports.
For all the high school players antsy to get back on the field and back to practice, Tuesday is that day.
Tomorrow the real hard work begins. If it's an equipment-laden sport.
But for athletic trainers like Lisa Walker with the Nebo School District, this heat wave makes the statewide start date a little stressful.
We actually call it Heat Week. We don't technically start a lot of the stuff. We have Heat Week. We have mandated heat acclimatization.
All schools are required to follow strict protocols set by the Utah High School Activities Association. They must test their limits using a monitoring device called a wet bulb globe.
So you get the temperature, you get the wind speed, and you get the humidity. And it comes up with an actual reading.
Heat safety is very important to Walker. She's on the Association Sports Medicine Advisory Committee, as well as the Corey Stringer Institute's Health and Science Advisory Board.
For those who are unaware, Corey Stringer was an NFL football player who died from heat stroke.
Cooling tubs will be on standby. School staff is trained to spot heat-related symptoms. And at Nebo, football players will have to wait a few days until they're acclimated to wear padding.
Nobody should die from the heat. Purely preventable if we do the right thing.
Walker says a practice in Utah is rarely canceled, mainly modified. So those modifications could say working out at an earlier time so it's cooler outside, or even just moving locations because a turf field can make temperatures much hotter. Reporting in Salt Lake, Emily Tenser, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Emily, thanks. Right now, the Monument Fire in Uinta County, it's still burning. It's in the Book Cliffs Range, just south of McCook Ridge and west of the Sleep Ridge Road. So far, it's burned 82 acres, and as of 6 p.m. this evening, crews say it's 40% contained. 4 smoke jumpers are on the ground fighting the blaze. They're being helped by 4 large air tankers, an attack airplane, as well as a helicopter. No structures are currently threatened, but Fox 13 News is told fire officials are keeping an eye on oil infrastructure within that area. The cause of this wildfire is unknown.
In southern Utah, 4 people had to be taken to the hospital after a 3-car crash on SR 59 near mile marker 12. That's near Hilldale by the Utah-Arizona border. The Utah Highway Patrol says a westbound semi-truck ran into the back of a Honda Civic when the Honda slowed down suddenly. That pushed the Honda into eastbound lanes, and it hit a Mazda passenger car head-on. The semi-driver was not hurt, but 2 people in each of the 2 passenger cars were injured. SR 59 was shut down for about 45 minutes before authorities were able to move the vehicles out of the way.
Meantime, there is a jackknife semi on eastbound I-80. It shut down the I-215 westbound on-ramp in Salt Lake County. Take a look here. This is a live look of the scene from one of our UDOT cameras in the area. UHP says no one is hurt, but fuel is leaking right now from this wreck. The ramp will be closed for a bit to clean it up. We, of course, will keep you posted on this story as we learn more. The co-founder of the FanX convention has been found guilty of making threats to bomb multiple buildings in Utah.
Brian Brandenburg has been convicted of sending threatening emails to Utah State Court employees in the spring of 2022. Prosecutors said Brandenburg tried to get updates on his divorce, but when he didn't receive a prompt response, he started making threats and eventually threatened specific locations and people. He has not been associated with FanX since 2018.
A woman is accused of grabbing an 8-year-old boy near the Days of 47 parade in Salt Lake City this morning. Police say a mother and her 2 children, they were heading toward the parade with a wagon. And as they walked around a homeless camp, they say 43-year-old Tiffany Day accused them of stealing her wagon, then grabbed the 8-year-old out of that wagon. We're told the child suffered bruises. Police arrested Day, who told them she mistook the wagon for her own.
An Emery County man is accused of beating someone to death with a can of soup. Arresting documents indicate 37-year-old Zachary Tuttle was drinking with the victim while visiting his Castledale home on Saturday. They got into a fight over Tuttle trying to get his own 14-year-old son to drink. The teen reported his father hit him in the mouth and knocked him down. Then Tuttle severely beat the other man using a soup can. When law enforcement responded, they found that man dead and arrested Tuttle on suspicion of murder and child abuse. Multiple crews responded to a house fire on Salt Lake's East Bench today.
It happened in the 1700 block of Devonshire Drive. Fox 13 News reporter Jenna Bree shows us how crews were able to put the fire out quickly.
Fire officials responded to a call this afternoon of visible fire and smoke coming from a home at the top of the row of houses in the foothills near H Rock. Most of the fire was confined to the garage of 1739 Devonshire Drive, but it did extend into the house too. Since it's such a hot and windy day, multiple crews responded for backup to relieve each other. Chief Dan Walker says there was a wildfire up on this hill 15 years ago, and there was concern the house fire could spread.
So it could easily happen again. And have you seen how tall the grass is this year? You've seen how dry it is right now. It's time to be very, very cautious.
Chief Walker says no one was home when the fire started. The cause is still under investigation. He also wants people to remember to be safe with fireworks tonight. Only set them off in safe and legal areas. Reporting in Salt Lake City, Jenna Bree, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Coming up, we'll take you to this morning's iconic Days of 47 parade in downtown Salt Lake City.
Real Salt Lake's off to a great start in Leagues Cup play after a 3-0 win over Seattle. Up next, Monterrey. We'll hear from the club after today's training.
Yeah, welcome back everyone and happy Pioneer Day. Thousands of Utahns lined the streets of downtown Salt Lake City to witness this year's Days of 47 parade. Some people we spoke with came extra early this morning, of course, to get a good spot to watch it all.
We got here yesterday at about 5 o'clock. Our family's been coming for the last 7 or 8 years. It's a lot of fun. There's just so much positive energy. It's fun to watch the racers and watch the parade and celebrate the pioneer legacy that's here in Salt Lake.
They were also celebrating Utah's heritage in Orem today. The event had all kinds of fun, from live music to a pie eating contest. I'm sorry I missed that. To yard games. And they did it all, come rain or shine.
We've had 2 thunderstorms come through during the event. This is our 5th year doing this Pioneer Day event. We anticipate 3,000 people here. And then once you get everyone on campus for the fireworks, up to 10,000 people.
If you hurry, you can still catch those fireworks. The show begins at 9:30.
Are you a fast pie eater? You missed the contest.
Well, I probably would have lost the contest, but I would have enjoyed it.
Enjoyed the pie. As Utahns celebrated the pioneers who came to Utah in 1847, another big event honored those who have been here for much, much longer.
Fox 13 News photojournalist Julian Conrads shows us this year's Native American celebration at Liberty Park.
Today's a powwow that originated years ago for the Pioneer Day.
It's a gathering. A lot of drum group from different nations. They present themselves, sing songs, and the drum beats are mom's heart, or my grandmother's heart. That means keep it going, don't stop.
A lot of dancers come together to show off their outfits and dance against other dancers. A lot of these dancers are from Arizona, the Navajo tribe, Ute tribe, Shoshone tribe. When you come to a powwow, the arena is a sacred circle for us, so you need to be in tune and you need to keep yourself clean.
You know, the Indian people helped Joseph Smith. The Shoshone did. They brought him, they're going to go around the mountain, but they made a shortcut.
Having this special day, or this special powwow on this Pioneer Day, I think it brings out a lot of honoring.
The whole reason of a powwow is for uniting and celebrating. It's also sacred and spiritual for the Native people.
Now, we want to know what you're celebrating today. Scan the QR code on your screen right now to get to fox13now.com/voice to make your voice heard, and let us know whether you are Team Pioneer Day or Team Pioneer Day, or both, or neither. Now, the results of this non-scientific poll are in real time, and right now our non-scientific poll indicates that our viewers are celebrating Pie and Beer Day.
There you go. I'm celebrating another Monday. Just happy to be here in so many aspects.
No, you're sad to be here because you missed the Powerball by that much.
We're on Facebook Live right now if you want to join, and we just told our stories. Allison shared one as well. You know, when you're so close yet so far, those moments in life, you think, wow, how could it be?
You were almost a billionaire, though.
Almost.
Mine was a much smaller one that I was somewhat close on. Now here tonight, I do have some concerns. We're really not hitting the lottery as far as good weather for a holiday. We've got a lot of lightning off in the distance. You can see from our Oquirrh Mountain Cam. This is facing west right now, so we're looking through Tooele County, tracking quite a few thunderstorms. It's not as hot as it was earlier, so I'm happy that it's cooled down for any celebrations tonight, whether you're doing Pioneer Day stuff or Beer Day stuff. We unfortunately do have some thunderstorms that are possible to move through in the next couple of hours. We'll get to that in a second. We are tracking a chance for some storms and blowing gusts tonight with gusty conditions. Tomorrow morning, mostly sunny, mild. A fantastic start to your Tuesday. Tomorrow, partly cloudy to mostly sunny with a chance for some isolated storms. But morning drive, morning commute should be really good. Low 70s. Tomorrow afternoon, evening drive, Tuesday afternoon, partly cloudy. We've got the chance still for some isolated storms as we head into tomorrow. We still have a flash flood warning through 11 o'clock tonight down towards Kodachrome Basin. So just north of Buckskin Gulch, we also had a flash flood warning there earlier this evening. No reports of any injuries, and hopefully it stays that way. And as I mentioned, still tracking quite a few thunderstorms here across northern Utah. Bear Lake right now, choppy waters, a lot of lightning starting to enter Wyoming right now. Out towards Tooele County, this is that storm that we are just looking at, that live view facing west. A lot of lightning with these storms out towards Dugway right now, getting closer to Tooele, Stansbury Park. That'll be moving through here shortly. Earlier this evening, we had a severe thunderstorm warning about 7:45 that moved through Salt Lake County up into Davis County. And we're going to have, again, a little bit of a breeze into tomorrow. So the storms today have produced some very strong wind gusts. We're talking 60 to 70 miles per hour with our strongest cells that we've seen this evening. Into tomorrow, we continue again with this pretty standard monsoonal pattern, high pressure right near the Four Corners. That allows us to pull some moisture up from the southwest, and we continue with that chance for some isolated storms heading into tomorrow. So tomorrow, early in the day, 60s and 70s, a pretty great start. Tomorrow we have another hot day, not as hot as it has been, but it'll be just a little bit above average for tomorrow. Moderate air quality into the mid to upper 90s. St. George, you've got about 107 for a high tomorrow, so you've got a hot day ahead of you. In fact, your entire 7-day forecast is very hot here across the region. So we look at tomorrow, 4 o'clock, mid 90s across a lot of the state, chances again for some areas of flash flooding, possible for Bryce, probable for Capitol Reef, and also probable for the Swell. So central Utah really going to be where we're watching. That would probably include Little Wild Horse down towards Goblin Valley. St. George, 105 to 110 for the next week. So the hot temps continue. For the Wasatch Front, we are mid to upper 90s tomorrow, close to 100 degrees throughout the entire 7-day forecast. We'll go a little more in depth on what you can expect over the next 2 weeks coming up.
More people are moving this year, and the scammers have been pouncing.
What to watch for to protect your wallet and your belongings.
Whether you're ready to move across town or perhaps across the country, moving scams right now are on the rise.
There was a 12% rise in the first 5 months of 2023 than in the same period last year. Fox 13 News investigative consumer reporter Robin O'Guinye shows us the top moving scams.
There are more people moving this year than last year, which is why we've seen a spike in moving scams. People are desperate to find the lowest price they can to move, and scammers take advantage of that. I talked to the folks at Hire a Helper who work with the Better Business Bureau to track the most common moving scams that you should be on the lookout for. There's the change of address scam. That's when perpetrators trick people who have moved into paying a fee to change their address using a fake website that looks like the Postal Service's site. They'll charge you $100 or so to, quote, change your address. Then there's the no-show scam. That's when a moving company asks for a deposit, you pay, but no movers show up on the date of your move. They'll ask for money via Zelle or wire transfer and then become unreachable. And mover fraud involves a fake moving company. They give you a low quote, show up, load up your possessions, and tell you you can't get your things back until you pay them another fee. Hire a Helper tells me a big red flag to watch out for.
Scammers often try and attract you with a really low bid. So if you find that somebody's offering you a bid that is really, really low compared to the rest of the movers and the moving quotes you're getting from, that's could be a scammer. So watch out for something that seems really far outside of the range. Somebody who's undercutting everybody else by $1,000 or more may not be legit.
Here's things to keep in mind when you're looking for help moving. Shop around. Get 3 to 5 quotes from different moving companies. Look for companies that create a quote based on an in-home inventory assessment. Keep a list of your packed possessions. That way you know what to report if anything goes wrong. And make sure you can pay with a credit card. That way, if you are scammed, you can get your money back with protections you get from your bank. Smaller scams to be wary of. Moving companies failing to adhere to the terms of the contract. They might overcharge you, or they might tell you that they'll give you a discount if you give them a positive review online. Protect your wallets, Utah. Robin Oginye, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Yeah, be on guard if you have been targeted by scammers, if you notice bad behaviors by corporations or are concerned that you and others are being mistreated. Submit your story idea or news tip by emailing iteam@fox13now.com.
Investigators are still looking into what caused a dump truck to crash into Pineview Reservoir on Friday. I spoke with Utah Highway Patrol about how often crashes like this happen here and what large vehicles like this need to do to operate on the roadway safely.
A warning to keep kids and pets away from the pond and a harmful algae. I'm Amy Nann. I'll have that story coming up.
The Big Sky kickoff was today in Spokane, Washington. Where is Weber State in the preseason rankings? I'll tell you, plus we'll hear from the head coach coming up.
Investigators now looking into a crash where a dump truck driver died after his vehicle went into Pineview Reservoir on Friday.
Fox 13 News reporter Chris Arnold goes in depth tonight with the Utah Highway Patrol about the thorough inspection process commercial vehicles have to go through.
The crime tape remains from a crash on Friday where the driver of a dump truck was killed after his vehicle crashed into Pineview Reservoir. It was in September of last year the Weber Fire District posted these pictures on Facebook of a similar incident where a dump truck also ended up in a heavily wooded, deep ravine near SR 39 after they say it lost its brakes coming down Trappers Loop.
We're talking maybe a couple in the last couple of years.
Utah Highway Patrol Lieutenant Justin Cheney has been covering Weber and Morgan counties for the past 4 years.
Come down that long of a decline down that hill, brakes are going to heat up. And, by the time you hit the bottom, they'll either fail or you look at a couple different things, driver experience in coming down hills like that.
According to the Utah Department of Public Safety, the driver of the dump truck on Friday appeared to have lost his brakes coming down Trappers Loop before going off the road and into Pineview Reservoir.
We'll get our commercial vehicle department involved. They'll go through, do a full inspection on the truck, find out if the brakes were all calibrated right, set right.
According to the Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance, there are 4 million commercial motor vehicle inspections conducted every year around the country. That includes 8 levels of inspections that are done for commercial vehicles, according to the CVSA.
A level 3 is we check driver log books. We try to get into the truck and talk to the drivers.
Lieutenant Harley Watkins is over the Commercial Motor Vehicle Enforcement section for the Utah Highway Patrol.
We check brakes, we check lights, we check all the safety features that the federal government regulates.
When it comes to commercial vehicles here in Utah, Lieutenant Watkins says we've seen double the rate of incidents this year versus last year. something he says isn't always the fault of the commercial vehicle driver.
Last year, 11% of our crashes in the state of Utah involved a commercial motor vehicle. This year, we're at 24. 1 out of every 4 crashes in the state right now.
Which is why he's urging drivers to be careful out on the roadways.
We need to look at our own personal driving behavior and maybe give them a little more room. We need our drivers to look at what they're doing, to be aware of what they're loaded with and hauling, and to not haul a load if it's not safe.
Well, as for Friday's incident, the Utah Highway Patrol tells me that the crash is still under investigation at this time. In Huntsville, Chris Arnold, Fox 13 News, Utah.
It has been a busy day at Liberty Park in downtown Salt Lake, but one of the more popular features was closed to the public today.
Fox 13 News anchor Amy Nay reports on the discovery of harmful algae in the pond there and public recreation.
Just no good, but I hope they're gonna clean up.
Parkgoers concerned after seeing caution tape and posted signs warning of harmful algae here at the pond at Liberty Park.
We were just wondering what was going on because there was all the tape and he wanted to get closer and he said it's probably the algae issues.
Josh, Marcella, and Cliff visit this spot often, but today couldn't let their little guy go down to the water to play.
Told him you gotta stay back, there's yellow tape.
Never seen it this bad before. I've been to this park a lot, so it's kind of scary to see all this happening.
Salt Lake City, the Utah State Department of Environmental Quality, and the Division of Wildlife Resources all coming together with this request as they ask people and their pets to stay clear of what they call harmful algae mats. They're visible in the pond behind me. The warning signs read that these mats have a musty scent that is attractive to animals, but they shouldn't be allowed to touch or eat them or drink from the water.
And I think almost all the ducks and fishes might die from it. So it's like best you don't go in the waterway.
The Utah Division of Wildlife Resources initially got a report that around 30 wild ducks had died at Liberty Park Pond sometime between July 8th and 9th. DWR telling Fox 13 News carcasses were collected and disease testing done. The ducks did not die from avian flu, and their investigation continued. Utah Department of Environmental Quality collected samples of algal material growing on the south shoreline, where the pond had overflowed and receded. Then Friday, those results came in. Cyanobacteria, harmful algae, and a small amount of hepatotoxin was detected in the algal mat sample. And the warning tape and signs went up this weekend.
I'm walking here every day because my senior center is just 2 streets away from here.
Kristen Forrest is usually walking her dog, but not on this outing.
Sometimes he left to go to that water, and right now it's no good.
Crews were cleaning up debris that sat along the shoreline Monday.
I'd rather you keep me safe.
We love the park, and we're happy the city is doing what they can to keep us safe.
It's beautiful, all beautiful.
Beautiful here, but many say they may change their routine for now.
See, I was like, we might be avoiding this park for a little while till it gets cleaned up.
Reporting in Salt Lake City's Liberty Park, Amy Nay, Fox 13 News, Utah.
We all know our state is changing, but how different does Utah really look and feel from a couple decades ago?
And right now we are tracking thunderstorms moving through Tualacaña. A live lightning strike right there. What to know for all of the activities for tonight's holiday coming up.
Without a doubt, Utah has changed a lot in the past decades, from our population to the downtown skyline to even the traffic in your morning or afternoon commute.
Fox 13 News reporter Darian DeBrule looked into how much Utah's population is changing and how your input can help guide the state's growth.
There's a lot to love about the Beehive State.
We have a lot of nature here, especially with the mountains.
I love the culture, people, it's friendly.
The economy is growing, it's booming.
Which is why so many people have families here.
I have 8 children. I feel great raising my children here.
And so many people move here.
One of my biggest dreams was coming here to study.
Mallory Bateman, Director of Demographic Research at the Kempsey Gardner Institute, says Utah has added over 1 million new residents since 2000.
In the most recent decade, 2/3 of that was from natural increase, so that's births minus deaths, and then 1/3 was from migration. This is a place people want to live, and people are still moving here.
Utah historically has not been very racially diverse, but with net migration, That's starting to change. According to data by the U.S. Census Bureau, the Salt Lake City metro area's black population has increased 161%, the Asian population 135%, the Hispanic population about 118%, and the Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander population about 97%.
Seeing how many cultures there are and how diverse it is at school, I think is really amazing.
Demographics and growth can look very different depending on where you are in the state.
Along the Wasatch Front, we're seeing it in one way. Those neighboring counties like Wasatch County, Summit County, Tooele, Juab, you're seeing pretty intense growth in those smaller populations. And then we do have parts of the state that are changing in a very different way.
But from rural Utah to the suburbs to Salt Lake City, State Planning Coordinator Laura Hansen says there are 4 main things Utahns are concerned about when it comes to growth.
Housing affordability, water availability, transportation convenience, and then good access to parks and recreation.
Your neighborhood might look very different than it did decades ago, or even last year. But Hansen says with the right planning, Utah can continue to be a place we want to call home.
Utah is a great place to live today because of our past planning efforts. And Utah will remain a great place to live because we have this culture of collaboration and thinking about what we want our communities to look like in 30 years.
The state is asking for your help in guiding Utah's growth by participating in the Guiding Our Growth survey. This survey will be open until August 31st, and we have a link to it on our website, fox13now.com. In Salt Lake City, I'm Darian DeBrule, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Want to know if you're in a heat wave? Well, the way to figure it out is to look at the low temperatures. We'll show you.
The Big Sky kickoff was today. I'll tell you where Weber State is in the rankings in the preseason poll, and we'll hear from their first-year head coach. And we'll check in with RSL 2 days before they play Monterey in the Leagues Cup. They'll tell us what's been working for them right now.
Well, there is a term we hear a lot that sounds so much like common sense we tend not to consider what it really means.
Especially lately. The term is heat wave. Fox 13 News anchor Max Roth went looking for the official definition of a heat wave in Utah.
There are numbers that stand out, like 100 degrees. But the folks who monitor heat waves are not really interested in records. They want to look at the coldest point in a day, the minimum, and see how much that's above normal and for how long. Research heat waves, and you don't just wind up with the National Weather Service. You spend just as much time with the Environmental Protection Agency. Why? Well, play with those words. And a heat wave is when we need to be protected from our environment. So it's different in different places. In Seattle, the average high in July and August is 77 degrees, and the average low is 57. At those temperatures, you don't need air conditioning. So the EPA will be worried about vulnerable Seattle residents when nighttime temperatures get above 60 or so. In Salt Lake City, the EPA would look for a string of more than 2 days when the mercury never gets below 70 degrees. So this month, we had a heat wave for 5 days, from July 7th to the 11th, for 3 days, from the 16th to the 18th. And this is the 4th day of a heat wave that began on Friday. The reason minimum temperatures matter the most? Well, they give everything a break if they get low enough. Asphalt cools down and it's ready for the coming day's sun. The power system isn't stressed nonstop day and night. Our dogs can run around the yard in safety. And the infrastructure of our daily lives, home and car air conditioning, water, our tires, all of that is really most important because those systems protect our more vulnerable loved ones. One deceptive thing about temperature highs and lows, our clocks and calendars give us kind of a backwards impression. Low temperatures happen in the morning, so a summer high temperature has the most influence on the low temperature for the next morning. An example, when it hit 106 on Saturday afternoon, that gave Sunday the hottest morning of the month so far, never falling below 82. In studio, Max Roth, Fox 13 News, Utah.
We'll go ahead and check in again on the Oquirrh Mountain Cam. This is the same camera view that we have been checking periodically throughout the last hour. We're still seeing that lightning coming down. We had a gorgeous sunset earlier this evening, but we are continuing to see lightning coming down right now. This is what that camera is facing. So let me get you oriented. That camera is between Salt Lake and Tooele. It's situated right here on the Oquirrhs, and it was facing towards the southwest. So that lightning that we were seeing was out towards Dugway, out towards Tooele County, the central part of the county. As we head into the next couple of hours, my concern for today is it's a holiday. We've got people outside for parties right now for Pioneer Day. We've got fireworks, we've got drone shows, we've got parties happening for Pie and Beer Day. We've got all kinds of things happening, and a lot of those will be outdoors at 10 o'clock. Or right now. So we've got lightning approaching. Here's the deal. If you can hear thunder, you are close enough to be at risk to be struck by lightning. Lightning can strike up to 10 miles from the thunderstorm. And that basically is a lot of the Salt Lake Valley. So if you've got lightning out towards the airport, if you're at the rodeo, if you are at an outdoor concert and you are within 10 miles of that storm, you are theoretically at risk. So we've got a lot of lightning approaching the Salt Lake Valley right now. We'll break down the timing of that in a second. A little bit of rain down towards Capitol Reef, not seeing a lot of lightning there. And then earlier today, we had flooding concerns for Kanab, also for the areas down towards, let's call it Coyote Wash, down towards Buckskin Gulch, Kodachrome Basin State Park. Now for Salt Lake City and Ogden, our precipitation chances are peaking now through about midnight, with that peak likely around 10:30, 11 o'clock. So hopefully things will hold off for those outdoor activities this evening. Unlikely once we get to about 2, 3 a.m. tomorrow afternoon, we have more isolated storm chances. We've got an area of high pressure right towards the Four Corners over New Mexico. Into tomorrow, we're going to see more chances for afternoon storms for Tuesday with this monsoonal pattern. Chance of precipitation in Ogden is isolated for tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. For Provo, your chance of precipitation is isolated for Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. And then we head into the St. George area. Your chance of storms the next couple of days rather low, but by early next week, we're going to likely see another push for monsoonal moisture. Temperatures tonight at 10 o'clock, about 75 to 85 here across the state. Actually feeling pretty cool thanks to the storms that rolled through. Into tomorrow morning, 65 to about 75 degrees, with temperatures into tomorrow rising into the mid to upper 90s. St. George 107 tomorrow, 108 on Wednesday, 108 on Thursday, close to 105 to 110 your entire forecast. Salt Lake mostly sunny the next couple of days, close to 100 degrees for the next week. And then after our 7-day forecast, first week of July, temperatures above average, first week of August, temperatures above average, precipitation also above average.
Well, Real Salt Lake's off to a great start in the Leagues Cup after a 3-0 win over Seattle on Saturday. Next up, it's Monterrey at home on Wednesday. They're right now second early in the Liga MX standings with 2 wins and a tie in their first 3 matches, so they're playing well. The top 2 teams in the 3-team group advance to the knockout stage of this tournament in the round of 32, so RSL will advance with the win over against Monterrey. RSL showed why they are one of the hottest teams in Major League Soccer on Saturday in a 3-0 victory, which extends their unbeaten streak in all competitions to 10 with 7 wins and 3 ties.
We know Seattle's a quality team, and to win like that is massive, and especially in this tournament, getting that first win out of the way sort of, I don't want to say guarantees you a spot in the next round, but it makes it a lot easier. So now going into Monterrey, we're focused on doing the same thing. We know Monterrey is a quality side, and hopefully we can put on another performance like we did the other day. We're playing at home. We want to make sure that they feel it, they feel the altitude, and we've been playing well, and we've been doing all the right things, so we just want to keep that going, and hopefully that's a recipe for success.
I think it's been a lot of different things. One, I think the locker room is great. I think the addition of Chicho and Nelson has really sparked the locker room in a positive way. I think the last 3 months we've been really ticking in a really good direction. It feels very much player driven. This is a great Liga MX side who has a great history. If we know what we're going to do, then we force those guys to adjust to us. And obviously we're going to break down some film tomorrow and pregame. But again, we're sticking to what we've been doing.
The Big Sky Conference kickoff was today in Spokane, Washington. Weber State picked to finish 4th in the preseason coaches poll. It's a new era for the Wildcats with first-year head coach Mickey Mental leading the way. He said the players are having a great summer, and he's ready to start fall camp on August 2nd.
To see what kind of, what this team is about. I think that's always the most intriguing thing going into camp is, how do we incorporate the young kids into the older kids, and what kind of team do we have rolling out for Central Washington.
Weber State has 4 players on the Big Sky preseason all-conference team: offensive lineman Noah Atagi, corner Maxwell Anderson, kicker Abraham Williams, and linebacker Winston Reed, who's also named the Big Sky preseason defensive MVP.
Winnie getting the Defensive Player of the Year is a testament of how hard he's worked throughout his career, and couldn't happen to a better person.
Camps start next week. I was just putting in schedules. Games are like 4
unbelievable.
weeks away.
They're here.
Yeah, right.
Are you excited?
Yeah, it's the Utah-Florida game will be here in no time.
I know.
Excited?
That's August 31st. We were looking at that earlier today.
Oh,
yeah, that's going to be great.
Bob was already planning his big tailgate party. Look at this lightning.
Yeah, look at this.
Wow.
Wow, Tooele Valley, we're still getting lightning and thunder. So,
thanks, Jeff.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
thanks for being part of Fox 13 News at 9.
As the lightning continues, stick around for QuickCast. It's up next.